Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you a recipe that was requested by one of my subscribers, and it's another copycat recipe from the First Watch chain. This time it is for their Power Breakfast Quinoa Bowl. Now the last video that I did from them was a copycat recipe for their pesto chicken quinoa bowl. And that happens to be one of my videos that are just like picking up speed right now. So I will put a link to that video above so you can click on it and take a look. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the First Watch restaurant chain, they do brunch, and they're basically a scratch kitchen, meaning that everything that they make, they basically make from scratch every single day in-house. So not only is their food very delicious, but it's typically on the healthier and lighter side. So, enough talking. Let's get cooking. So I'll start by making the lemon white balsamic vinaigrette. This is a basic vinaigrette, so it's very simple. You basically need the juice of 1 lemon or at least 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And to that, I'm gonna add some extra virgin olive oil, 2 tablespoons, and some Dijon mustard, 1/2 teaspoon, and of course, some white balsamic vinegar, so that's 1 teaspoon. Then to that, we're gonna add some salt and pepper to taste. And then we'll just put the lid on our jar and give it a good shake for about 30 seconds. And the Dijon mustard really helps to emulsify and bring this dressing together and make it creamy. Like this. Now we'll just set that to the side. So here on the stove, I have a small saucepan. I'm putting the heat up to medium, and to that, I'm gonna add 1 cup of chicken broth, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil. Then bring that to a boil. And to that we'll add 1/2 cup of quinoa. I'm using tricolor. First Watch uses just the plain white. Put a tight fitting lid on and lower your heat. Now while that's cooking, let's start roasting off our mushroom and tomato. Set your air fryer or oven to roast 375 degrees. Here I have 1/2 cup of Portobello mushrooms quartered. You're supposed to use cremini, I couldn't find them. And 2 small compari tomatoes, also quartered. Add that, and then just some salt to taste. Pop that in your air fryer or your oven for about 4 to 5 minutes, and you should be good. So back to our quinoa, it's been 5 minutes in. I'm gonna add 1 cup of chopped kale. I like mine soft, so I put it in now. If you want yours more tender crisp, you can add it once the quinoa is cooked. Just set the kale on top of the cooked quinoa and put the lid back on, and the steam will soften your kale. So now checking in on our tomatoes and mushrooms, they're nicely softened and cooked, so we'll set that to the side. So back at the stove, here I have a small fry pan, and to that I'm gonna add 1/3 cup of bulk Italian sausage, and you basically just wanna break this up into small bite-sized pieces, lightly brown it, and make sure it's cooked all the way through. So now let's go check in on our quinoa. It's been 20 minutes, and our quinoa is fully cooked, so I'm gonna shut off the stove and put the lid back on. This is when you would add the kale if you want your kale more tender crisp. So checking in on my sausage, don't do what I did, folks. My heat was too high and I let this char a little too much, but where I'm from, we call this country style, and we really like it. Not really. And lastly, we're gonna cook off some eggs. So here I have another fry pan on the stove, and to that I'm gonna add 1/2 tablespoon of ghee. You can use margarine if you want. That's what they use at First Watch. Once your margarine or ghee has melted down, you can add 2 freshly cracked eggs to that. So we start this out as like a fried egg. We're gonna add a little salt for seasoning, put a lid on, lower the heat, come back about 30 seconds later and add about 2 tablespoons of water directly over the top of the egg and to the bottom of the fry pan, and put the lid back on. And we are now basting our egg. So basically the water and the steam are gonna cook our eggs to the perfect doneness. The white part of the egg will be nice and firm and the yolk will be nice and creamy. Now let's combine all of our ingredients. So here in a bowl, I'm gonna add the quinoa with the kale, and then I'm gonna top that with our roasted tomato and mushroom, followed by our Italian sausage, country style. And to that, I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of that lemon white balsamic vinaigrette. You can add 2 if you want. I think 1 for me is perfect. And then we're gonna top that with our beautifully basted eggs. And to garnish, we're gonna add some freshly chopped chive and parsley. And we'll also top it with some shredded Parmesan cheese. And here it is, my version of First Watch's Power Breakfast Quinoa Bowl. So this dish here is actually from First Watch. And this is my Copycat version. Looks good. Well, there it is, guys, a Copycat recipe from First Watch for their Power Breakfast Quinoa Bowl. I hope you guys try and enjoy the recipe. And you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on anything. And as always, guys, until next time,